I'm currently doing client work, mostly e-commerce and social media management, and I want to turn it into an agency.
Okay.
General tips.
Yeah. So I think in any business that you have, whether it's consultative, product, et cetera, a lot of people don't understand the acceleration of a business. And so if you understand the acceleration business just generally, that a business may take 4 years to get to 25%. So like my dog trainer over here, he knows acceleration and exponential growth. When we're young especially, what happens is, how old are you?
38.
38. So even at 38, right, this business of yours might take 4 years to get to 25%. Now you're 42 and you're only 25% of the way there, and it seems so frustrating. And people are telling you, you got to change, this isn't working. In my opinion, that's not true. Like if you're consistently and persistently pursuing the potential of that business, well, what happens is if you stay on focus, on trajectory without letting the doubts, the fears, the resistance, the shortages, the voids get in your way, you're only 2 years away from getting to 50%. So what happens is you're 44 years old now and your wife's about to leave you because it's been 6 years and your kids are like, Dad's not paying for the pony in the backyard, the trip around the world, and worried about college, and I'm gonna have to take loans. So you got a lot of pressure on you. And what's worse to me is the 6-year plan. It doesn't have, these years could be 10, 5 or whatever, but there's an exponential accelerator. When you stay consistent, persistent in the pursuit of your potential and you stay in business, sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. But think about this, on the 4-2 side of things, you're 50% of the way there. Most people quit by that time. It's just too hard for them. They're not persistent and consistent. Those who enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit, they know one thing: 4 years to 25%, 6 years to 50%, you're actually only 1 year away from being 100% of the way there. That's exponential growth. That's acceleration. Here's the sadder part. Now you're 45 years old and you're 100% of the way there. Everyone's like, oh my God, you're so lucky. Then a half a year at 45 and a half, you're 200% of the way there. And in 3 months, you're 400% of the way there. And in a month and a half from there, you're 800, and then 1600%. Then it's like every single week you're doubling, and pretty soon you're Jeff Bezos, where if you make $1 billion in a year, you're fired. That's acceleration and exponential growth. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, because trust me, Google was an optimization tool. Yahoo was an index. Bezos, that was is an online bookstore. So don't tell me when you're starting out with these ideas that I want to have an agency, that it couldn't end up to be a global something or other. And the key to it, to me, is number one, stay in business, right? If your first priority isn't making sure you're in business tomorrow, you're making a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Because as long as you're in business, you have right? It's like having a bullet, man. I got a shot today, I got a shot tomorrow, but you got to stay in business and then stay consistent, persistent in the pursuit of your potential, and you can get the acceleration and exponential growth. You cannot listen to everyone else. You're going to have enough doubt in your own heart that when your parents are telling you, why are you doing this? And your wife's telling you, why are you doing this? And your kids are, putting pressure on you, like the other kids have this and I don't, right? Those are all realities. But the truth is, you're almost there. And it's hard to see this exponential growth problem. It's hard to see that 50% of the way there is almost there. But that's the way it works. It takes a while to get to 25%, half the time to get to 50%. Remember, it's only half that time to get to 100%, and only half that time to double it, double it, double it, double it, whatever that is. And what if your exponential factor is faster? Like I held early in my career, maybe it's 3 times. Right? Your exponential factor could be 3, 4, 5, or 10. That's how some companies make it to $1 billion in a year and a half, and other companies like Wonder Bread, it took 100 years to get there, but they got there. And you got to stay consistent in doing it, and you have to enjoy it, because if you enjoy it, then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Right.
And if you're not enjoying it, find the joy in it. You get me? Because so many people don't find joy. They let people steal your joy. They'll let you steal your happiness. I find joy. I find joy in relationships. And if I can't find joy in the relationships and I need to maintain the relationship because, I'm a relative to it of some sort, or I work next to it in the next cubbyhole, then I go to understanding and forgiveness. And then I pray for their happiness. That process will allow me to at least not let them steal my joy. And usually if I do that, those people change. Now, if you don't need to be around someone that's stealing your joy, fire it, right? I mean, if it bleeds you, kill it. If it feeds you, feed it. When you're around someone that just makes you feel good, you should literally bend over backwards and tell them, is there anything I can do for you? Can I come to your house and clean your car? Can I, like, literally, if you find somebody like that, feed it. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? You know, that last speaker was one of those people 2 years ago, you know, literally came to me to mentor her. But she was like that. She's like, everybody else, really hardcore Chinese parents. She's from China. Her mom can't wear, you know, you look ugly. Why would you do, you can't, like really hard stuff. And I was feeding her joy. And I kept telling her, it's fine, listen. And lots of tears. And, you know, to me, it was a huge joy for me. She's up on stage telling everyone, I think there's a book you guys can read in there. She's talking about me, how I changed her life. No, she changed her life. I just gave her a few ideas that changed mine. The same way. So, you know, think about math and a lot of these things before you start listening. Right here we got, you know, 12 people. I got 12 different opinions of me. And only one matters, right? My own. Only mine. The better I feel about it, I'm not gonna let you steal my joy. I can allow you to fire me up. You know, I always joke around with football. Stacy's like this too, because we're about the same athletic ability and size. What motivated us was everyone telling us we couldn't do it. Right? He's a college wrestler. I love the fact that when people ask, what activity or success have you had in your life that's closest to your potential, since you're so focused on your potential? I'll tell you, according to my skill set, you know, my talent, I think playing college football, to me, I wish I could be as close to that potential in business because I have so many more skills. If I would have spent, like, I was so determined and fired up, and I loved it so much to be that good at football, and I was an average Division III football player. But I was so close to my potential, like so close to the best I could be. And I want to be that way in speaking and writing books and doing business with people and in motivating people. But I know that I have way more skills to do that, and I'm just not there yet, to close to my potential. Great question. Remind me of your first name again. Ashton. I'm going to learn everybody's name. All right, Ashton. Thank you.
So one of the big things that I'm starting to see a lot within the industries is that people are doing what everybody else is doing. And so in your opinion, how do you think a business can stay relevant and not a commodity within their own industry?
Yeah, I have a simple rule when it comes to that. I make myself equal first. Make myself equal, then I make myself different. So that delta, that margin is truly the value that I provide. But what we don't want to do is discount the fact of what everyone else is doing. Right? It's okay to do things better, but you have to focus and make yourself equal to, and then make yourself different. If you go ahead, I know Blue Ocean thing, they're still doing things equal to what the other person is, and they change it. So Uber would be a very dramatic thing that's happened, right? A shared economy, changed the world. Actually, Bradley Tusk was on my podcast last week, who was the political guy that they hired for stock so that they could change the laws about medallions and taxi driving, et cetera. But think about this. All they really did, it wasn't revolutionary. Uber's evolutionary. He made himself equal in a capacity of getting a ride. Right? You still have to call up the ride. You still have to meet somewhere. He made himself equal, and then he made himself better. Right? That's how Uber was formed. So I think romanticizing and, you know, the way that people frame and market certain industries and certain solutions, they make it seem like, oh, this is just purely outside. I thought of things completely different. No, you didn't. Right? You know, it's not some, like, you know, teletransportation, you know, like in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, and you come out like the little dude, you know, they got to stretch you, right? It's not. It's still a taxi with an app, right? It just made it better. And I think it's important for us to look at the reasons that they're doing it, the impacts, the capabilities, look at the math side of it, and say, because I find myself in the industry really being more interested, asking people about their industry, because where people make their money is on margin. Margin occurs in the subtleties, right? So you can exponentially scale in a margin when you can find a little bit of a margin that someone else can't find. And then imagine you just focus in on that little bit of a margin. We were discussing opportunity where you have just merch. Merch has been around. I'm in the sports industry. It seems to be a very popular thing. I can't tell you how many kids ask me, I got a t-shirt company. How can they make money in t-shirt? But yet drama, right? A good friend of mine, drama makes money with merch. Why? Still merch. You can go, quality, but there's some nuance that you can do better. I'll give you another example on my TV show of looking at things. There was a kid who pitched me. His family had a manufacturing in China. So one of the differences that he has is quality control, because a big issue in China that I can't trust is, no matter how good the business seems, if that product arrives in America and it sucks, or a portion or percentage of them suck, there goes your profit. So one of the things I liked about the difference in his business was they manufactured, so he owns the company, he's personally liable for the quality control. That meant something to me. But here's what he did that's different. He's a furniture company. So he starts describing the furniture and says his material's better, which it's hard to distinguish or educated market, my material is better than yours. Because they have to experience it, and if enough people experience it, you really have to have a huge marketing budget or sampling budget. But he tells me that his product is better, and then he has an automatic cover for outdoor furniture that's attached in that it goes over to save it. And I said, that's different, okay, but still I didn't want to invest. And then he said something really cool. I said, how are you going to market and sell this? He said, well, we have a unique model. We have home showrooms. I'm like, what's a home showroom? He said, when you buy our furniture, you have the option to be a home showroom. So if you're a home showroom, we'll give you a discount, and we can post your backyard as somewhere that people can come by appointment and look at the furniture in your backyard, and you can sell your friends and families when you have parties and make commissions. You actually you have your own home furniture business. And I said to him, I really don't care about that. It's called outer.com. I don't care about the backyard business, but if you can own the customer to now let their house be a showroom, I can sell security systems, TVs, inside furniture, outside barbecues. It's just gonna grow and grow and grow. Once again, all he did was make himself equal, and one little nuance, which I think is genius, a home showroom to incentivize people to buy your product, and it's basically an MLM. Right, multi-level. This is the way people can make money. A little subtle change. It's not revolutionary, but it's really smart. And now, how does that happen? Most people won't explain to you how. Right? They love the what and they love the why, and get you all fired up on the why. Follow your passion, follow your dreams. Excuse my language, but fuck that. You can get passionate about. I get passionate about taking the trash out, and I do. Right? There's nothing special about it. I get passionate because I say to myself, what do I want most now? Well, I'm a pretty active person, productive and accessible. I'd like just a few minutes a day where I can take by myself time to think about what I want. So I use the trash now as my excuse. So instead of being pissed off that my wife has control over me and I'm putting myself as inferior because she's guilting me into taking the trash out, or maybe it was my mom when I was young, all this negative energy, I turned to take the trash out and do a superpower. But think about it, it's just all up here. You've got to infuse the passion into it. So how do we do this? Right? How do we do this? This is how we do it. Look at it pragmatically. Look at your business pragmatically. Look at what are the reasons that everyone else is doing it, the impact it has, and the capabilities that they have. And if you pay attention to the what, forget the why. I can teach you in 2 seconds to put why into anything. If you look at what you're doing and then how they're doing it. Because you said everybody's doing it, right? Oh, sorry, right. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. Look how they're doing it. And if you pay attention to it long enough every day, lowering the bar, I guarantee you, in your digital marketing business, applying what I'm talking about here, if you just spend a minimum of 3 minutes a day, 7 days a week, within 14 days, you will figure out a blue ocean strategy for your own business. I know George, I've taught him to focus, because what happens is, if you pay attention to something long enough, every day, it elevates the awareness or the vibration of it, and things become simple, and that harnesses the power of intention. So there's a huge field of intention. And I've been talking a lot about currency, right? So think about things in currency state. Everybody knows money's a currency, right? So if I go to a store with my currency, and you told me that bottle was $4, and I had $4, I could put the energy, the current, into the currency, the flow, and I would get that back. Does everybody believe that to be true? And it's very obvious. Well, I'm here to tell you that action, faith, belief, all those things are currencies. They are an energy, the same way that money is an energy. And if you put it into the current, right? So a currency is an object that goes through a current, an energy flow. So belief, thought, action are currencies that go through a current, but the only difference is there's an entire humongous store up there with everything already that exists. And some people aren't aware of it. They aren't aware of all the things in the store. It's like so many aisles, you're not aware that, oh my gosh, they have, vegan toothpaste. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Yes, they do have vegan toothpaste. I didn't know that they had taxi rides with an app. I didn't know, that they had, drones that can deliver whatever. I didn't know they had a tunnel that you can go. I didn't know that they had a boat that could be made of steel because only wood floats. I didn't know, nope, it's up there in the big store. And what do we use? We use our actions, our thoughts, our beliefs as currency. And I think, most importantly, I use my faith. Faith is a currency to me that I am faithful that if I put all of those things into the current, that I'm going to get what I want without trying to take it, without trying to make it. Simply allowing it to happen by focusing all my value, all my energy into that current of being of service, of providing value. And it all happens through attention. Watch what happens. Pick anything you want to pay attention to for a minimum of 3 minutes a day. Watch how you can harness the power. Watch how different it looks to you. It'll just look different. Pick any inanimate object if you wanted, for example, that camera over there, which I have never really paid too much attention to. But if I gave that camera a minimum of 3 minutes of my attention, I'd learn a lot about it and it would mean something different to me, right? Because I give meaning to everything I see. I would know how that microphone works. If I'm paying attention to it, I'd know the weight of it. I don't know any of that right now. But if I do, I'm raising my awareness. And if I learned about it, utilizing all my past experiences, all my powers of channeling, all the things that I do, I might think of something, wow, I saw this business once and I could use that camera for this. I never knew it did that. The problem is most people get so unifocused, all they know is their accounting. It's the people, I forget who I was with the other day, that was like the king. Everything was cross-dimensional. His advice was, I forget which book it was that they wrote, but it was like all about learning different industries and applying what you know to the different industries, meeting different people of all ages, learning about that. It was one of those people. There's a huge power that you have. Yeah, George.
So, one, I'm an idea guy, right? Like I come up with brand new ideas like once a month where I'm like, wow, definitely revolutionize whatever it is. Like the motorcycle box, I have the patent on it, and I'm trying to find like plastic manufacturers and injection molding and stuff like that, so that way I can take it to market. No experience in that, and it costs a lot of money. So I need to provide value, which I'm doing through my pack walks and puppy playtime, and that's something that's essentially unheard of in the dog training world because it's dog socialization, and no one wants to do that. So I'm trying to change the whole culture, and I've been pretty successful. Like I'm getting good turnouts on a weekly basis, and to the point where it's outgrowing my capacity. So I'm now having to bring on assistants and marketing people and all of that stuff. But I'm still I'm struggling to monetize it, right? Because I do my puppy playtimes and pack walks for free because I believe it should be free, right? My heart says this is something that is necessary, and people don't know that it's necessary, so they're not going to pay for it. So I'm starting to do more, but how do I actually make the money off of providing the value? Because I'm providing more value than any dog trainer in 50 miles, but not making as much money.
So, great question. It's the biggest frustration for me because people don't ask. So, when I coach, I feel the same way as you. How can I charge people so much? Right? How can I charge people so much? This is something that if I'm capable of taking the time for money, I should be able to take the time for free. Then I looked at it a little differently because that's still living in a world of just enough or a world of not enough, and it's also a world of everything's for me. When I realized, what if I told everyone here, I'll coach you, but I'll coach you for free for 1 month. For 1 month, I'll coach you for free. And in that time, I need to determine how I can help you, if I can help you, or who else can help you. And most importantly, how can I be a profit center for you? What value am I asking? And if I gave George $100 and only asked for 20 back, how much money did I give him? Right, that was a big awakening. When I say I always apply math to things, if I give you $100 and you give me 20, am I giving you? Am I of service? Am I of value? Even though I took back. I took something from you. Okay, so why is it any different that when you're doing your doggy socialization services, there's a number value of what you're doing, which makes you a profit center. Why can't you create the flow of the currency, put it into the currency, knowing that everything comes through you for others? So even though you give $100 of value of dog services or what other people are charging, and you ask me for 20 instead, right? The 20 that you get is just going through to make it more available to more people, hire more people, pay them, it's coming through you, and it's the exact same energetic position that you're trying to take by giving it for free. So when you're completely confident, I get on a stage, still today for $25,000, and I think to myself, I could do this for free. This is, but no, you know what? I don't do it for free because I'm bringing way more. By having me speak in front of your 7,000 employees, I will increase the GMP of your company. Now, these guys know, because I volunteer on the Olympic board with them. When I'm in the meeting, I bring value. I bring value. And I do pick and choose. I can't charge for everything I do, but you can charge for your business. That's why it's a business. You're doing a disservice because eventually, if you keep doing stuff for free, it's like my mom being a second grade teacher. Now you got to start asking for help. And what are you doing? All you're doing is going out there and asking people for donations so you can stay in business, and you're not going to grow. You're not going to expand. You're not going to accelerate. Don't charge more than the value. Charge less than the value, exponentially less. And your value will keep going up and up and up. And give them, if you want to assess the situation, so because you don't know the value for everyone, so be it. You should be paid for what you do. You should not work for free if that's your business. Right? For my speeches, I do corporate speeches. That's a corporate speech. I'm going to be paid. But I'm going to go talk to the 5th grade class. I'm not going to charge the elementary school. Right? I've made a goal of at least every paid speech, I'm going to give a free speech. And every paid speech, I'm going to bring it. And I'm going to guarantee, this is how you know you're doing it right. In Colleen, she runs all my personal brand, all my coaching. Every client I have, I guarantee every single month, that if I did not provide more value, I'm only month to month, I'll never lock anyone into any agreement. You can hire me month to month. At the end of the month, if I tell you I'm $5,000 a month, if you didn't make more than that, don't pay me or take your money back, just tell me. Guaranteed. That saves me from that side.
That's a super abundant mindset. How does someone wrap their mind around that when they're not from that?
Yeah, practice. Start small, lower the bar. Literally, when I started coaching, I was $100 a month, and it was a donation to charity. That's how I started, because I wasn't in that mindset. I was embarrassed by it. I was embarrassed. In fact, I wouldn't even do one-on-one. I'd have group mission meetings, and I met them 7 a.m. in my neighborhood at a park bench. And because some kid begged me to coach him, and I said, you can't afford me. And then I felt bad, and so they all had to give $100 a month to charity of their choice. Not even my charity. I felt bad, like there'd be some thing. And I moved up to, having one of, the best business practices. I'm top business coach in the world, and I have no fear. I'll go into a CEO, Marshall Goldsmith, the guy that trained me, he had Boeing, Ford, Gulf Oil, and he would go into the boards and they say, how much are you? He says, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you at the end of the year, and you don't have to pay me. You tell me what I was worth. Knowing how many millions of dollars, Keith knows this, how many millions of dollars it costs if your CEO leaves. Right? How many millions of dollars? So if the CEO and the board aren't getting along, and he coaches the CEO, and now they get along, and they make how much he knows what he's worth. Just like I know what I'm worth. You can listen to Didi on stage earlier, or anyone that I coach. I know what I'm worth. I've never had one client ever tell me that they didn't get the value for it, even though some clients have told me I can't afford it. Right? After a while, you know what? And I've had one Harlem Globetrotter, young guy, and his mom got sick, so he was receiving value for me. I was building his brand, lots of stuff. His mom got sick, and unfortunately our healthcare is in a position where it was draining him, and he said to me, I can't afford you, but I can't afford not to have you. And I was like, that's okay, let me refund all your money, right? Because that's not what I meant. I said, let me refund all your money, and I'll still just work with you. No, I need to pay you, because if I don't pay you, then it's gonna be one of those, I know you, Dave, you're committed, but you're gonna be the, I said, no, you don't know me then. I will do this for you, right? That's that circumstance. You still have the choice, but get paid for what you're doing. Receiving, all of you have a problem with receiving, I promise you, because I still do. Guilt, resentment, fear. If you feel at all bad about receiving, then you gotta keep working on that. I get a big check sometimes, I'm like, Leslie pays me sometimes, I'm like, I love her. I would, go out with her for free and just give her advice and do all these things. And I'm like, I feel bad sometimes, and then I gotta stop myself going, but if I don't collect, then I can't keep helping more people and have more people helping me, with all the systems and a CRM that allows me to have all these things that I built, media. So without collecting money, I couldn't put out 3 videos a day, where now millions of people get to see and
social media, that's important today in business and entrepreneurship.
everything.
So yeah, since you said everything, what if you don't like social media?
Good. So what is social media? Social media is capturing what's happening, amplifying it, and perpetuating it in a digital format. The most essential thing about social media is in person. What you do in person, how you inspire people one-on-one, is the most important thing about social media, right? Email, phone, all of these things are aggregated up into content that's captured, amplified, and perpetuated. If somebody tells me I don't like email, I can change that in 1 minute. Someone tells me they don't like social media, I can change that in 1 minute. So anyone not like email?
He doesn't like social.
You don't like social media?
I mean, I use it, but I don't use it.
If you don't like it, it's okay. So you don't like it. What if I told you for every post that you post on social media, I'll give you $10,000? What if I told you, what?
I would do it.
Would you like it?
Yeah. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, no, guaranteed. Would you like it?
Yeah.
What if I told you for every like that you gave someone, I'd give you $1,000? Would you like a lot of things? Yeah, so in essence, it's not the social media that you haven't infused enough value into social media. See, for me, social media is a platform, just like email and in person. I don't like or dislike talking to someone, but what I like is the value of giving and receiving in person, on the phone, via email, radio, print, TV, because I know that it can reach so many people, right? So when you start infusing value, like taking out the trash, infuse value in taking out the trash. When it had no value, I didn't like taking out the trash. When it became my escape, I love taking out the trash. So tell yourself, when you don't like something, look at now the purpose of it and change the purpose to something that you like. Change the purpose. I changed your purpose. If I guaranteed you money, it would change the purpose of anything that you wanted to do. That's why people do it, right? People like Excel. No, they're like making the money from either using it or getting paid to use it or whatever it is, and then it can be really fun.
I think the next question is like the insecurities of posting and being on social. Like, how do you get past that?
Oh, insecurities of watching yourself in video and yeah. How'd you get over the insecurity of riding a bike?
By doing it.
Yeah. The way the human body, mind, and soul works is by consistent behavior, and so that we feel uncomfortable when it's new. We feel very uncomfortable. But when we have consistent behavior that goes into your cellular memory, creates neural pathways that creates comfort as well, and consistency and discipline and habits, then it goes to an unconscious competency that's activating different genetics, personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions completely change when you consistently practice something. And then energetically as well, it shifts. So the best way, if you don't like something, is to lower the bar so you can do it every day. Right? If you don't like to work out, if you don't like to eat this, or you just lower the bar so that you can do it every day. The exponential growth and acceleration will always occur with consistent behavior. It's mathematically proven. So we have to actually just lower the bar and don't let it steal our joy. Take out all conditions and judgments. Keith the other day, told me that he read my book and he canceled. He's for the video, cancel. Yeah, cancel it. So, start training yourself. Know that you're on a journey to get there, that it's not going to happen overnight. Know that every video that you see of mine, every time we meet in person, that I'm a hypocrite, right? I'm afraid. I feel the same way. I still have trouble watching myself, right? I still sometimes think about like, man, I wonder what my family thinks when they see this video. I wonder what my mom feels like when I tell stuff about, you know what I mean? I get insecure. I'm like, you know what? It's the truth, or my perception of the truth. Truth keeps changing in my mind, right? And so I don't let the resistance occur. I do know that when I get anywhere in ego, which is insecure, fear of loss, separation, inferiority, or superiority. Someone just mentioned to me and reminded me that not everybody knows that ego is not just arrogance. It's mostly based off of the opposite, insecurity, right? It's the fear of loss, it's the inferiority, the separation, the need to be right, sure, the need to be superior, yeah, but mostly it's the need to be guilty, resentful, angry, frustrated, insecure, fear of loss, all the things that separate us from one another. That's what creates resistance. And we're actually working against ourselves. When we're in ego, we're working against ourselves. We're making it more difficult. When we're working without ego, in a trajectory right towards our truth and our potential, and we feel at peace. That's why forgiveness, I talk about forgiveness, it puts you back to peace really quickly. And you gotta forgive yourself. Don't stop beating yourself up. Stop feeling like, people are gonna think this is stupid. Here's the cool thing about the internet. And no matter what age you are, I finally got to a point where all statistics, right, 99% of all statistics are made up. So in my life, let's just say, I got to a point where like 80% of the time, right, that I don't give a shit about what anyone else thinks. About 80, maybe off, but 80% of the time, let's just say you can get there. Here's the cool thing about it. I put something up and 3.9 billion people on Earth text me or DM me or email me. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You may be the biggest moron on Earth. I don't like you. I don't like anyone that likes you. You are an idiot. 3.9 billion people on Earth. But the rest of them love it. But we dwell on that one person. My 9-year-old, he was playing shortstop and the ball was hit up and it was wet. We had some rain or whatever, and he ran up and it bounced in front of him. It wasn't even in the air, but he tried to stop himself quickly and he slid. And someone laughed. There's probably 100 people watching the game. One person laughed and he couldn't take it, right? It hurt his feelings so much. I could see a tear coming down. It wasn't even an hair. And so when he came back into the dugout, I went around like, buddy, what's the matter? I could see he was crying. He goes, somebody laughed at me. That's what we do. So what? Right? One person, 99 people like me and everyone else were like, but one person laughs. If one person laughs, laugh with them. Ask them why they're laughing. Pray for their happiness. Understand them, pray for their happiness. It's a huge thing. And with the internet and social media, you're so blessed because you can reach 4 billion people on the internet. You can reach them all, and it's growing every day. And they all don't have to like you. But the cool thing is, if I had a frequency in a small town in Indiana, Knox, this guy's traveled as much as me, probably Keith. In Indiana, you got a courthouse, and then you got the businesses all around the courthouse. A barber, a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. It's really 50s like, it's cool. Diner, right? Well, whatever your frequency is, you might have a town of 40,000 to 400,000 people. Here's the interesting thing. Back then, if you had the successful diner, not everybody liked the diner, but just one that had a frequency, you could make a nice living. $200,000-$300,000, you could build this business, right? Not anymore. Man, you have a frequency and you're reaching 4 billion people? and you learn how to monetize it, George, and ask, and provide more value than you're asking for, it's extraordinary. I mean, I love speaking here, and there'll be 500 people in there, and it'll be fun or whatever. I think it's cooler that possibly up to 5 million people will see parts of my speeches. And the cool part about it is I can edit it and take the best part of my speech, so they're not going to see the part where I tripped over my tongue and said the wrong word, or drooled on myself, or I can do whatever. I can face tune me, make me look 30, whatever I want to do. It's just a frequency. And here's the other thing: the more confident you are in your frequency, the more people like you. The less confident you are, and the more you hear the chatter, the less people like you. When you're confident in you, it's like the guy that chases you and wants to date you and date you and date you. You don't like him. So think about that. Change, right? Don't chase. You don't have to feel insecure, right? Nobody wants to be around someone that's begging to be around them. They want to be around people that carry an energy. And I love people that are so different than me, because they are so. My 4 kids are so different, and I love them all. And I hate for all my friends to be just like me. I really enjoy. I find the things in their frequency that are like, God, that guy's so cool. And other people are like, you hang out with him? He's so weird. No, he's so cool. That's his frequency. Extraordinary people do extraordinary things with their frequency. It's the ones that are half-assed and are apologetic about their own frequency. I used to be that way. I mean, I was a kid who would not even tell you what I like to eat. Right? I was just such a pleaser. I could not find my own frequency. I'd go out with family, friends, and they, what do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. The truth is, I did care. Right? I suffered through some eating stuff I didn't want to eat, going to places I didn't want to go. Right? Because I was a pleaser. It's okay to tell people what you like and who you are. I swear to God, I was in conversations and someone would say, oh my God, I love George Bush. I'm like, oh yeah, I like George Bush too. And then they'd be like, oh, I love Clinton. Oh, I love Clinton too. Like literally in the same room, people probably, if they talk to each other, go, that guy's a huge Democrat. And the other guy's like, no, he's a huge Republican. Like, I just love what you love. I was a chameleon of love. That's not good. Find your opinion, be able to explain it, but also appreciate and understand someone else's. Other questions? When I'm in a situation where there's a difference of perception, how do we get to a shared perception? Number one, go to understanding. So what do? We ask questions. What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Right? I wish more people would do this in politics. Like, what do you like about him? What don't you like about him? Why is that, right? What's the reasons? What's the impact it's having on your life? What capabilities are you looking for? But the more questions, all through understanding, right? So understand first, and then forgive. Forgive yourself if you still feel pissed off and in disagreement or agitated or frustrated or angry or attacking, going, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. I don't understand that. If you can't understand it, then you have to go to forgiveness and forgive yourself for not being aware enough or enlightened enough to understand it. It's on you. You're accountable for 100% of the things in your life. What you've attracted yourself, what you're supposed to learn from it. If you can't do it, then forgive yourself and just hope that tomorrow you'll be more enlightened. And then the third step is an energetic step, which is pray for their happiness. Happy people don't attack, right? You just, people are not, if they're not happy, they're projecting their unhappiness. However that manifests itself and whatever materialization it comes from, if somebody's attacking you or making you feel bad, it's because they are not happy. Happy people make you feel good. It's physically impossible. It's energetically impossible. Happy people make you feel good. So pray for their happiness. Remember what I told you about faith being a currency? I put faith into the fact that it's a currency. I'm going to pray for their happiness. I understand them, I forgive myself, and then I pray for their happiness. That's how we get, and then it gives you confidence to have your frequency, because same thing holds true with you. Right? I'm on my journey. I would hate, there's a lot of recordings out there. I'd hate to be held to the fire for everything that I said. It's just my opinion, where I'm at on that day. Right? 30 years from now, people pull up stuff that I said 30 years ago and go like, how unenlightened was that? Just the same as it was seriously enlightened when they made people of different colors drink from different water fountains. It was seriously unenlightened. Shit that I'm saying today is unenlightened. I just don't have the advantage of the infinitum of time that everything evolves. Right? Hot tub time machine, right? Go back and make Lugal or whatever. It'd be real easy to be rich if you could go back in time. And as much as it'd be easy to be rich, it'd be really easy to be at a higher level of enlightenment and awareness and politically correct. If I could go back 30 years ago, I could stand up for things that I didn't, like people grabbing my face mask at 7 years old and shaking my head. When I was 9 years old, my parents didn't see anything wrong with it, the referees and coaches didn't see anything wrong with it, and I certainly didn't see anything wrong with it. I found it motivating, but now I'm more enlightened, and I wouldn't want someone grabbing my 9-year-old's face mask and saying what they told me when I was 9. Right? I evolved and learned and said, there's better ways to do this. Right? We're not driving horse-driven carriages because there's better ways to drive. But let's apologize for ourselves for the past, forgive ourselves and others, understand it so that we can move on and pray for our happiness. We don't need to create attacking thoughts over differences and separations. We're all evolving. We just want to have acceleration and exponential growth in our evolution. Therefore, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year, half a year, we're at 600% of where we're supposed to be because we consistently stay at it. And we don't listen to people just because it took us 6 years to get to 50%. We know we're only 1 year away from getting to 100%, 6 years from 200, 6 months from 200, 3 months from 400, a month and a half from 800. That's a very important mathematical equation. Acceleration and exponential growth, consistent behavior is at the core of almost everything that I put faith into.
Just going ahead. I'm sorry. Does anybody have any other questions?
They like your questions.
Going off of the consistency aspect, a lot of the clients that I work with, one of the big things that when they come to me is they need accountability, but I don't want to be there for them the entire time, and I want to try to figure out ways to help them implement new ways to stay consistent with themselves. What are some things that you teach your clients that help them, like when they leave you, they can still continue to be consistent on that?
So through consistent behavior and discipline, I have to be an accountability partner at first for at least 30 days. Right, so I use the most efficient mechanisms that I can. So I'll have someone text me a thumbs up emoji when they do what I ask them for focus homework every day, so that I can see that. And then what I can do is easily transfer it over to send yourself a thumbs up emoji. Look, it's math to me, it's logical, it's all discipline and patterns and consistent behavior that allows, if you really believe in the fact that our minds, right, so how do we input 10,000 new inputs a day go into our cellular memory, and it's through our 5 senses, right? The way we see, the way we smell, the way we talk, and there's perception that screws that up, but that's what comes in here. So if perception can screw it up, I say to myself, I'm gonna make my perception enhance it. Most people look at the other way, right? I'm not seeing that right, and they look at the negative. Not me, I enhance my perception, so my inputs are even better. 10,000 new ones a day, which then go to the 40,000 subconscious thoughts that I have. And they're just circling in my brain. Well, if there's some subconscious thoughts that I have that are negative, that's what causes me to attract conscious negative thoughts. So the more I'm aware of that, I say, I'm gonna replace those negative ones in my conscious with positive ones so that more of my 40,000 are positive and create better neural pathways, right? Better beliefs that then move into my unconscious competency. Genetics, personality traits, characteristics, obsessions and addictions, and energetic. And you can actually activate and deactivate your genetics. Now here's where genetics to me get really tricky, is that most people will say genetics happen from 4 generations down. But if you believe in the infinitum of the world like I do, I don't believe in the man-made construct of time, the man-made construct of money. I don't believe in those, I believe in infinity. So in the same respect, I believe that my soul or my energy has existed in infinitum. So it's really difficult. Sure, I can study patterns and say, oh my God, I'm just like my dad, I'm a bullshitter, right? I'm a manipulator, I oversell, I back-end sell, I'm just like my father. And I can hate myself when I'm young because I'm just like my father, and then learn about it and change myself. But here's the scary thing. What if some of that has nothing to do with my father? It has to do with something like 1,000 lifetimes ago, if you believe in infinitum. So now it becomes really important to raise your awareness of the patterns more than where the resource or the inception occurred, because the patterns are what I look for, right? And I'm teaching people the pattern that I look for is what makes me feel good and what doesn't make me feel good. If something doesn't make me feel good, ask myself why. Continually do that every day and keep learning and say, I thought it was this. No, I was wrong. It was this. You know, I do so much self-exploration and processing that I look back and I think to myself, God, I forgot that happened. No wonder I feel this way. You know, I particularly remember a really important story in my life of it. I never thought my dad cried. I could never remember. I'm about to cry myself. Sorry. But I couldn't remember. So my dad died, right? And I was crying. I'm like, I wonder if he would cry at my funeral. That guy's what's going through my head. I'm like, because I never saw him cry. And I went to bed that night and, you know, meditated before I went to sleep, grateful, put thoughts of my father, understanding and forgiveness and how much I loved him. And I have this vision of the past, which was true, of when I left from Akron, Ohio to San Diego. We were at the airport. My mom's leaving with all the kids. And I turned around and there's my dad crying because I was leaving. It's the only time I ever, but I went 50, well, he died when I was 49 years without thinking that happened. Well, my next step to that was, well, why? Like, why couldn't you remember that? What is it about? Right, and I still explore why, because the more I learn about why I felt that way or why I couldn't remember that incident or why it still chokes me up, right? I know I still have issues to clean out, to become aware of. And that's important to get to that awareness. Yep.
How do you discern between, like you said, what makes you happy, or if it's something you just have to work on, but like you're not happy with it, but you just have to work on it?
So they both can be the same, right? You can be happy and still have to work on it. Right? I mean, that they're totally different things. So I say when you're working on something, which is pursuing, when you're pursuing something, you're happy. So while you're pursuing it, if you're not happy, then you're not in the trajectory. You cannot be pursuing a truth and not be in a state of happiness or inspiration. They're mathematically impossible. You cannot be in the pursuit of something and not be inspired. They're mathematically, energetically unaligned. So if you feel like you're in the pursuit but not happy, that means that you're at a trajectory not towards the truth, which means your ego is that void. Somehow there's some sort of fear of loss, shortage, void, obstacle, need to be right, need to be offended, need to be resentful, need to feel guilty. There's some sort of energy in there. And what happens is if we don't correct the path, you can get really far off in your life, right? And then you wonder how long it takes you to get back.
Happiness scale, right? Like, I have a friend of mine who I kind of like. I've always been there for her, but at the same time, she always jumps into things that make her happy in the moment, but then the end result is she's upset. You know what I mean? And how do you distinguish between the two? Because if I came to her and said, "Hey, you got to do what makes you happy," she's like, "Well, doing this, like let's say."
All right, doing Molly is going to make you happy for a little while.
Yeah.
So once again, no, and it's true. So. We have to be aware of what's the difference between instant gratification over happiness. So sometimes what makes us happy is we have a need and it's fulfilled, but that's not true happiness. That's not it, right? It's like a numbing of pain is not happiness. So that would be a better distinction for you. So can we distinguish, I'm just numbing a pain, or am I truly happy? So if you're using drugs or alcohol or, you know, a relationship or whatever to numb something that's missing, you need to deal with what's missing. And that'll create the happiness. And that is a difficult distinguish. And people will go and do things that are consistently making them numb the pain, and then end up in this trajectory that's way off, that created a huge void obstacle, which is how most of the genetic side of addiction happens, right? I'm gambling, I'm only happy when I'm gambling, and you end up really, really unhappy, right? Drinking, drugs, really unhappy. You know, I'm very aware of pursuit. right? If there's no pursuit into the happiness, if it's just a matter of doing something without that inspiration, it probably isn't a real happiness. I'd much rather pursue something and not get there than not to pursue it and someone give it to me. Right, and so you hear what I'm saying, right? So be careful when people are giving it to you if you're not in the pursuit, right? It's I don't want it. It's just.
How do you change? What I found myself is that I have a goal, and I've been struggling, you know, a lot of rejection or whatever, and sometimes, and I'm a real estate agent. Let's say that I've been struggling and something cancels and I get all these clients, and I'm not even excited about it anymore. And I don't know how to change it or be positive or what the outcome. I don't know if I'm afraid of the thinking, like whatever.
So I think that happens in the pursuit, the consistent pursuit of what we do, is in our mind. If we keep having the same things, we lose that perspective, the excitement of it, right? And let me tell you why. Because it's more exciting when it's in the cellular structure of what we're doing than when it becomes in the subconscious or the neural pathway, right? So we don't have as much purpose involved when it's in the subconscious as when we're consciously doing it. It's not as much effort. Now, most people don't understand that, so they don't take advantage of it. They actually do what you do and end up lowering the bar. So Ed Milet, a friend of mine, we talked about it on his show, it's a thermostat.
Yeah.
Right, it's this thermostat. So you think that you set your thermostat and you're just lowering it right down. So what I do, right, is use appreciation. So appreciation's two things. One, you will not feel that way for all your real estate clients if you're grateful for them. And two, more importantly for the pursuit side, so it's more exciting and fulfilling, is to not only appreciate in the fact of gratitude, but most importantly, add value to the relationship. When we start looking at things in pure, you'll appreciate, I'll give you an example of my wife, because I know exactly. I have the most extraordinary wife. She made me me. But when I was younger, I'm married, 3 unbelievable kids, and I hadn't seen them, and I'd rush home, and like in my heart and soul, like I was going 105 miles an hour in my Ferrari, and I didn't care because I just wanted to go home and see him. Then I get to the table, and I get to see him, and I get that big hug, whatever, and then 5 minutes later, somebody would call me at the dinner table, right? When she'd ask me a question, I'm like, I don't want to, talk about my day, Then someone would call me, I'm like, hey! And I'd spend 20 minutes on the other room, but everyone's sitting at the dinner table, super excited, and I get back to the table, and my wife says to me, why do you treat people you barely know better than me? That's what you're doing when you're not appreciating the clients that you have, the business that you have. Remember, appreciation adds value. The only way to get more business, more friends, is to appreciate it. And I promise you, simple gratitude and adding value. So how do we do that? 2 simple questions. If I have my clients that I've had for years, George is one of them. Leslie will be one in years. But I'm constantly saying 2 things. How can I be of service? You've been my client for 5 years. How can I be of service? And 2, do you know anyone that can help me? Right? That's how I add value to someone else, is because I'm making an investment in you, and I want you to make an investment in me. How can I be of service or provide value for you? And 2, do you know anyone that can help me? I allow you in the receiving side, George, to add value to me. And all my relationships thrive that way. And look, financial planners are the worst at it. They lose so much business because they're bored with their clients, and then something happens, someone dies, something changes, and somebody's been adding value or asking for help. And there's the spouse left with, a $60 million estate, and the guy that she hasn't talked to in 10 years is like, all he sees is opportunity. And meanwhile, she's like, well, this guy's been here for 5 years talking to me about what we're doing and my husband, and I know he never switched because he was loyal to you. Boom. I promise you, in real estate, things happen all the time. It's not just with them. If I'm a real estate person, I'm always asking, do you know anyone that can help me? Because everybody knows someone that's buying or selling real estate, and it's an emotional buy. People buy on emotion for logical reasons. Even myself, who pick brokers sometimes in the back, and I'm like, why the heck did I use them? right? Because it was an emotional attachment that happened. It wasn't logical. And even when I help people today, like with jobs, a lot of times it's just the kid that's there adding value consistently. And there may have been in my database someone much more well-suited to work at ESPN, but that's the person that was there. It's the way that flow, that currency works, right? We're putting energy into a current, it becomes a currency. What we think, what we say, what we do, and faith are all currency, plus money. It's a currency that's obvious to everyone, but faith is the biggest currency that I have. And it takes a lot to have faith. I still give a lot to charity, not just money, but time. And I still fight faith, right? Sometimes the ego comes and I resent it, right? I'm on the plane this morning at 1:30 because I'm the chancellor of Junior Achievement University. And there was that moment that I'm like, why did I? And then it was like, no, I know why, right? I'm back on that trajectory. So appreciation is the answer. I got to go back in there and speak. Hopefully you guys can listen. I got books for everyone if you want them. Thank you for coming.